Students, my name is Pushpalata Kadam from Samarpan Gnyan School. Today we will study Class 5, Chapter 4, Mangoes Round the Year. In this chapter, you will learn about food preservation, food spoilage and wastage of food. Children, when we go to the market, we read the information written on the food packet. When you go to the market with your parents, you must have seen that your parents read something that is written on the food packet. What do they read? They read the information regarding the manufacture of the product or the expiry of the product. And it is very important to read all this information before we buy anything from the market. Children, the food which we eat also gets spoiled. Okay, so let us see what are the causes of food spoilage. We must always eat healthy food to stay healthy. Food is spoiled by various factors like bacteria, molds, yeast, moisture, light, temperature, and chemical reaction. Here in this picture, you can see the first picture, it is of the bacteria. What are bacteria? You must have heard your parents saying that you should wash your hand properly before eating food. There are germs present on our hands. So, what do you mean by germs? Germs are the small microorganisms which you cannot see by your eyes. Okay, and bacteria is also one of the germs. Okay, these microorganisms, they spoil the food, and if these microorganisms go into our stomach, we fall ill. So we should wash your hands very nicely before eating the food. And bacteria also spoil the food. So in this picture, can you see the first picture? It is of bacteria. What are bacteria? Bacteria are the tiny microorganisms responsible for the spoilage of food. Bacteria are of different shapes. Some bacteria are useful also. They help to convert milk into curd. Have you seen your mother making curd at home? She adds a little curd to the milk, and then the milk is converted into curd. So what does she add actually? Actually she add few bacteria to it, which converts the milk into curd. Okay, the next picture is of fungi. Okay, fungi grows in damp and moist places. It grows on food items like bread, chapati, curd, etc. Have you seen the bread packet? If you don't use it and it is kept on the table for a few days, it gets spoiled. There is greenish or brownish color mold which is present on the bread, which spoils the bread. It is nothing but fungi. Students, food also gets spoiled if kept uncovered. You should always keep the food covered. What will happen if you don't cover the food? Flies and other insects, they sit on this food, and the germs which is present on this insects, they fall into the food and the food gets spoiled. So you should always cover the food. Stale food. Stale food means the food which is not fresh. Such type of food has an unpleasant color, taste and odor. Have you smelled such food? It doesn't smell good, isn't it? So, you should not eat such stale food. What will happen if we eat stale food? If we eat stale food, we can fall ill, sick. You have stomach pain, vomiting and such problems. So, you should always eat fresh food. Food preservation. What do you mean by food preservation? In order to keep the food fresh, we must preserve it. The process of keeping the food in a way that saves its nutritive value for a long time is called food preservation. So you see that your mother preserves the food by different ways in your house, isn't it? There are various methods of preservation which you can see in this picture. See, can you see here what is this picture? This is a picture of a refrigerator. You can preserve food by freezing the food. The food remains fresh for a long time if it is kept in the refrigerator. Okay. Milk. Have you seen your mother boiling milk? What will happen if the milk is not boiled? The milk gets spoiled. So boiling is a method by which the food can be kept in a good condition for few hours. Here there are some more pictures of food preservation. Salting. What do you mean by salting? Salt is added to food to preserve it. You must have seen your mother adding salt to pickles to preserve it. Fish are also preserved by adding salt. Food is also preserved by sweetening. What do you mean by sweetening? Sweetening means sugar is added to the food in order to preserve it. Some food items like jams, jellies and fruit juices are preserved by adding sugar to it. Excess of sugar does not allow the growth of microorganisms and the food is preserved. Okay. Now dehydration. What do you mean by dehydration? Dehydration means the food is kept in the sunlight in order to preserve it. Some food items like papad, red chilies, potato chips and aam papad are preserved by drying it in the sun. Even raw mango and some other food items are kept in the sun in order to preserve it. The moisture present in the food is removed by drying it and it prevents the growth of bacteria and fungi. And the food is preserved by drying it. The next method is canning. What do you mean by canning? In this method, air is removed from the food and then they are stored in airtight containers to prevent the growth of germs. Vegetables, fruits and milk products are stored by this method. Good food habits. Children, your parents and your teachers also teach you good food habits. What do you mean by good food habits? Good food habits means you should wash your hands before eating the food. Then you should not waste the food. Food is very important. We should not waste the food. We must take how much you need in your plate. You should not take more than needed. Understood? We must always save food. We must not waste food. Thank you.